Jamie, what advice or words of encouragement would you give to someone who, after hearing today's sermon, came to the realization that they've checked out or given up on God because of some tribulation in their life or their lack of endurance in dealing with it?
Yeah, no, as I mentioned in one of the services this morning, is that that's probably the most common area people check out is in the endurance phase, when they, instead of asking how long, basically make a statement too long and they get out. And, you know, there have been many of us who've experienced that. And that's what the whole story of the prodigal son was about. The prodigal son was already a son, but he was a son who had checked out. And let me just encourage you with a couple things. First is that if you are his, if you've come to Christ, you're going to come back to him. I mean, I love to encourage people that way. I'll say to people, whether it's my kid or others who tend to slow down spiritually, even check out, that he's never going to let go of you. Michael Card wrote a song years ago based on a poem called The Hound of Heaven. That was what the poem was called. And the fact that, you know, when we're running from God, we feel a shadow of darkness over us. That's his hand that's just about ready to come upon us as he's going to snatch us back up. And so the reality is that if you are his, you're going to come back. And so the question becomes, if you're in one of those modes of saying, I'm not going to endure, that I'm going to, check out on God, is how long do you want to do that? You're prolonging the inevitable, the fact that he loves you and is going to call you back to himself, and that the sooner you can turn back toward him and realize his grace for you once again, the better. And what it takes to do that is humility, a sensibleness, a brokenness, in which you turn to him and say, God, I realize that I got tired of my endurance, and though I still need to endure, I'm going to trust you yet for another day. And don't be surprised that when you eventually do turn back to him and just lay it out before him, bring him all the cares of your heart, the good and the bad, that he moves in your life and receives you. Maybe you'll still have to endure longer. I mean, God doesn't take away all of our pain this side of heaven. But I've always said it to people this way: would you rather endure the pain that you have through your own devices and through your own little addictions and little false oases that make you feel good? Or would you rather endure them in the presence of a God who loves you, in the presence of a God who cares for you and wants to move and breathe in your life on a regular basis? It seems to me that we'd want to endure in his presence and with him. So I hope that these words of encouragement encourage you to turn back to him, because he does love you.
Thank you, Jamie.